The need for justice and accountability for the victims of enforced disappearances and other human rights violations committed by the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, a militia group that controls Khartoum and other parts of Sudan. Enforced disappearances are a grave violation of human rights that deprive people of their liberty and dignity, and cause immense suffering to their families and communities. According to the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, which Sudan ratified in February 2021, an enforced disappearance occurs when a person is arrested, detained or abducted by the state or agents acting for the state, who then deny that the person is being held or conceal their whereabouts, placing them outside the protection of the law. In Sudan, enforced disappearances have been used as a tool of repression and intimidation by the security forces and government-backed paramilitaries, especially since the outbreak of a nationwide anti-government protests that led to the ousting of President Omar al-Bashir on April 11, 2019. The Rapid Support Forces, RSF, a militia group that emerged from the notorious Janjaweed fighters accused of atrocities in Darfur, has been responsible for many cases of unlawful detentions, torture and killings of civilians in Khartoum and other regions. The RSF has also been involved in the violent crackdown on protesters on June 3, 2019, which left at least 120 people dead and hundreds injured. Despite the formation of a transitional government in August 2019, which pledged to respect human rights and end impunity, the RSF has continued to act outside the law and with no accountability for its actions. Human Rights Watch documented multiple unlawful detentions of civilians in 2020 in Khartoum by the RSF, who held them incommunicado and denied them access to lawyers and their families. Some detainees reported being physically ill-treated by RSF guards. One detainee died in custody under suspicious circumstances. The authorities have failed to credibly investigate these cases or bring those responsible to justice. The victims of enforced disappearances and other human rights violations committed by the RSF deserve justice and accountability. The Sudanese government should take urgent steps to ensure that the RSF stops acting as a parallel security force and respects the rule of law. The government should also ensure that all civilian detainees are immediately released or handed over to civilian authorities. The government should also ratify the optional protocol to the Convention Against Torture, which allows international monitors to inspect detention sites. The international community should support the efforts of the Sudanese people to achieve a democratic transition and end decades of human rights abuses. The UN Human Rights Council, which adopted a resolution on Sudan in May 2021, should closely monitor the human rights situation in the country and urge the government to cooperate with the UN experts and mechanisms. The UN should also provide technical assistance and capacity building to the Sudanese authorities to reform the security sector and ensure accountability for past and present violations.